The Roman Emperor Caligula, Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, who lived between 12 AD and 41 AD, is one of the craziest and most perverse emperors world history has ever seen. Caligula, the third child of Germanicus and Agrippina the Elder, had the birth name Gaius Julius Caesar Germanicus. Caligula, the third emperor of Rome, reigned for 4 years between 37 and 41 AD. Caligula's infancy and childhood were spent with his father in military camps or garrisons in the Rhine region. In these camps, he was given the nickname Caligula, meaning little boot, because as a child of only 3 to 4 years, he wore the boots called caligae, worn by the soldiers. After becoming emperor, he always used his official name, Gaius Caesar. However, modern historians still refer to him by his nickname, and thus he is more widely known by his nickname, Caligula. Although there were attempts to make it seem endearing, he didn't quite succeed in remaining as such. The previous emperor, Tiberius, had appointed Caligula and Tiberius Gemellus as joint heirs when he withdrew to the island of Capri. However, when Tiberius died, Gemellus, being 18 and Caligula 25, was a sign that Caligula was the closest candidate to the throne. Indeed, with the support of the Praetorian prefect Macro, Caligula was declared princeps, or emperor, by the Senatus, Senate. Caligula brought the ashes of his mother and brother's bodies to Rome and had them placed in the mausoleum of Augustus. He had honorary titles bestowed upon some family friends and his grandmother, Antonia. He rewarded the praetors who supported him. However, about 6 to 7 months after becoming emperor, in October, Caligula suffered a severe illness. According to those who knew him, he took on a different character after he recovered. It was thought that the illness left mental and neurological damage. He constantly felt in danger and feared he would be killed. With these feelings and thoughts, he had the people around him whom he saw as a threat killed one by one. His brother Gemellus and the Praetorian prefect Macro were also killed. Bloody gladiator and wild animal shows began to be organized frequently in the arenas. Caligula also looked down on the Senatus, Senate, and the senators, seeing himself as above everything. A palpable megalomania had now consumed his entire being. There was no rational side to any of his actions. He had many opponents. Lepidus and his supporters, who organized an assassination attempt against him, were also brutally killed. Let's tell a few stories so you can understand what kind of person Caligula was. For example, he had various hobbies like getting bored on the seashore while setting out on a campaign to Britain and making his soldiers collect seashells. His favorite entertainment was throwing sex parties in his palace and selling the wives of prominent senators to the highest bidders at these parties. Another astonishing behavior was not selling some of them, having relations with them in his room with various fantasies, and then describing it loudly next to their husbands for everyone to hear. His fondness for luxury spending and, after depleting his predecessor Tiberius's treasury within months, marketing Roman ladies in a brothel he opened in the palace on the grounds that it would bring in money can also be considered an interesting source of tax revenue. Furthermore, his promise to make his famous horse a priest and appoint it as consul to the Senate, and having a stable resembling a palace built for his horse with marble, shows us the unbearable lightness of the emperor's love for animals. To think that such a crazy man did not like torture would be a very modest assumption. The deceased loved to watch lions tear criminals apart in the arena, but when he was not satisfied, and there were no criminals left to be torn apart, he would sometimes have some of the spectators in the arena torn apart by lions. He was an emperor so thirsty not for killing, but for torture, that he had most of his tortures carried out in public. With special tools he had made so that the victims would not die quickly, it was ensured that the person felt the pain to the very end while certain limbs were being cut off. Sometimes, when he was bored, he would have a family he claimed had insulted him massacred, from the father to the youngest child. Since it was forbidden by Roman law at that time to execute a virgin girl, it happened that for a remaining girl child, he ordered his executioner to first rape the victim and then kill her. His incestuous relationships with his sisters are his most well-known sexual problems, but even worse, due to his obsession with becoming a god. When one of his sisters became pregnant, he had his pregnant sister torn apart with the thought that the baby would be a demigod. Then he declared this sister, for whose death he was very saddened, a goddess. Fortunately, in the 4th year of his reign, he was stabbed to death by a few